Just see live. Hello, everyone. My name's Cliff, and welcome to everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm sorry if my light situation is a little bit bad. We're load shedding, and I've only got a ring light, and it's kind of difficult. But I've got the awesome Chris here. Do you want to go Christina or Chris for this
Either one
video?
is fine.
Either
Christine's
one.
fine. Whatever's easier to say.
I've got the awesome Christina here from Secrets Read. And yeah, it's such a wonderful channel. She's so bubbly, such a personality, and she talks so many books that are so similar to mine. So I absolutely love watching her channel. And also, the books that she presents are so beautiful. I've never seen another channel with such gorgeous books that she hauls and that she gets from unboxings. I really enjoy those videos. Hi, Christina. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good.
I
Eight
like your
o'clock.
dark aesthetic because it fits your channel name.
Thank you. So tell us a bit about your reading background and your horror background.
Oh, wow. So, I have always gravitated towards darker things as far as I can remember. So when I was probably in like fifth grade or so, I was reading a lot of the point horror books and Fear Street books. I know you said you didn't grow up with Goosebumps. I don't know if you had Fear Street.
And not at all. I
No.
haven't read
Okay.
nothing like that. I can't remember.
So
I don't
Goosebumps
think we've
weren't
ever
like
had
a
it in this
thing when I
country.
was a kid, but
Yeah,
Fear Street was. So I would get all these paperbacks and I would pretty much devour them in a day. And my parents would be like, never wanted to buy me books because they're like, you're just going to read that by the time we get home.
yeah,
So I was big into those books. And then I feel like I've kind of gone in and out of reading throughout my life because once you hit like high school, college years,
Oh, I hear
there's
you.
no time to read. And then
Yeah.
I started my career and everything was busy. Then I became a mom and I had no time. So
Oh, I didn't know
probably,
that. Congrats. I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
oh well, he's 13 now. But I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
yeah, as
Yeah,
as a female, you go through not having time to yourself for a very long period of time. So
yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't until he was maybe in fourth or fifth grade where I started to get to really read a lot more. And I tried reading Stephen King when I was younger. I remember being a teenager trying to read Misery and I just couldn't. Like he was so wordy and I think my attention span was so short that I
Yeah,
couldn't do it.
yeah.
But as I got older, I started reading like more vampire books. There was like a series called the Anita Blake series that really got me back into
I've
vampires.
heard of that. I've heard of that though. Isn't that like kind of a young adult sort of weird
Yeah. Well, I guess I was a young
Twilight,
adult at the
Twilight
time.
kind of thing?
Um,
Yeah,
so she's kind of like this vampire hunter sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
person, and
Buffy sort of thing.
a little bit, yeah. And it's a huge series, but at some point it kind of turns into smut, and I kind of fell out of fell out of reading that. But
It's
I
not
was always
all
looking
good, right?
for it was all smut.
Also, oh, okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I don't mind a little smut here and there, but when that's
yeah,
the main focus, that's not my thing.
yeah,
But
no, yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I kept looking for new things to read, but I never really knew how to find dark books. So I started reading Stephen King then as an adult and I got into it. And I just started reading book after book and I never knew what to read after that because I don't know about there, but where I live when you go to the bookshop, and you go to the
yeah,
horror section, it's a little bit better now than it used to be, but it was this tiny section. And I mean, I own more books than they would have in their horror section, right? So it would
yeah,
just be Stephen King. It would be Dean Koontz, who I've tried to read and never really cared for.
yeah. He's sort of hit and miss, isn't he?
I've only read one or two, and it was such a long time ago. So I probably, to be fair, should give him another shot, but I don't know that I care enough. And
Intensity.
yeah, I just
Yeah,
never knew where to go from there. And
yeah,
then I found BookTube in like 2020 where when
yeah,
everybody was home.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I started off like finding just a lot of fantasy channels. Like it was hard. I didn't realize there was a whole community of people who liked horror
Horror.
booktube.
Yeah,
So it took
yeah,
me a while to really find that group. But now that I have, I feel like I have so many recommendations and so many things that I keep adding to my TBR that I will never be able to read in my lifetime. But that's a good problem to have, you know?
yeah. That's a good, very good problem. And you discovered one of the greatest authors that we both got in common. One of the greatest authors ever.
You say Clive Barker?
I'm saying Clive Barker. Yeah, yeah.
You know what's funny is that I've only recently read something by him, and I don't know if it's too soon to say that I think he might be a favorite author. I've literally only read Books of Blood Volume 1 and I think one story in Volume 2. But the way that he writes is, I don't know. He could write about anything. It doesn't even matter if
He's
I'm into the
phenomenal, eh?
plot.
He's
His
phenomenal.
mind is on another level.
Yeah,
I feel like he thinks about things so much more deeply than I
yeah.
do. And yeah, I just really I can't wait to read more. In fact, I'm reading what's it called? The Damnation Game next month.
That's actually very good. Can I just interject there? I
Yeah.
actually studied. I did during my English literature studies. I did a thing where you had a choice. It was during my last year studying English at university, and you could choose for the first half of the year. I don't know what it's actually called. I can't remember. A long time ago now. But you could choose between like anything: romance, poetry, gothic, um, kind of literature, historical literature. There was a whole lot of things you could choose, and one of the choices was horror. And so I joined in with that group for the 6 months, and we had to compare Damnation Game. I think it was to Stephen King, but we had to do a
Yeah.
Clive Barker Stephen King comparison, and it was all about different types of fear. So how do these two authors paint fear and create fear, and how are they different? How are they the same? And it was very, very interesting. Yeah, and I mean, I fell in love with Clive Barker then, the Damnation Game, first book that I read.
Oh,
But I
was
love
it?
a lot of these, yeah, and I love a lot of these dark fantasies as well. And I think you love fantasy as well, hey, a little bit.
I
Yeah,
do dabble in fantasy. I really want to find more dark fantasy because I
yeah,
think a lot of the stuff that's really popular right now that you see on social media is like romance fantasy, which is not my thing. Like
no,
I don't mind if it's a subplot. Like if it's a
I
subplot, that's
recommend,
cool.
yeah, I recommend Clive Barker. Weevils, Imagica, big books,
I
but
have
with,
them. After
but
your
with,
Clive Barker tag, I like went and
yeah,
I bought like a lot of used books that from Clive Barker. So I do have quite a
yeah,
few and I want to read them throughout the year. But the first will be Damnation Game because it is part of a book club next month. So I'm really
yeah,
excited because he's an excellent storyteller. And I think that's
no,
where he really compares to Stephen King is that they where they start the story and where it ends up is so crazy how he gets
absolutely.
there.
Listen, can we do just a quick brief
Yeah.
stop for a second? I want to look at some of these comments because we've got a lot of comments. I
We
just
got a
want to
big
say
crew.
hello. I want to say just hello to people before we answer questions. So Bad is Rad.
Hello there.
Kritz here. Amazing book to your friend. It makes everyone laugh. The
Aw,
reviews are
thank you.
so yeah.
That
Yeah,
is a sweetheart.
you got an awesome personality, Kritz. It's so cool.
Really? I think I'm
Yeah.
so deadpan, like
Okay.
sarcastic.
And then we got Alicia who was here before the show started. Yay. Yeah. And then we got my wife. I'd like to pop in.
Hi, Anita. Thank you
She's
for
saying hello
helping us
back.
out.
And yo. Okay. I
Yo,
can't do
yo.
every one of these. Look for new people. We got Bookie Bus. Hey, how you
Hello.
doing?
Hi.
Hello. So good to see you. And then we got Rod Gilly. Hi, guys.
Oh, Rod
Spooky Cliff
made it.
today. He says Spooky Cliff today. Yeah, that's because there's no power. So I look like a skeleton.
I always
And
look
then
like a skeleton, so
you what?
I always look pale as a skeleton, so
No,
it's a look.
look at me. I'm like right here, skeleton mode, okay? A bony mode, like kind of just white.
It's not
Okay.
that bad on my screen.
No, I'm glad you say that. It's bad on my screen. Okay. JL Carell, how you doing? Hey all. Need to have you. You had me on your show. We'll return the favor. Okay, there we got
Hi, Joe.
Latrina. Hello, happy Sunday. Okay, so we've got some new people, yeah. Okay, I'm just looking here. Okay, yeah. Oh, Elizabeth Saidwood. Hello, bad.
Hey,
Hi, Elizabeth.
Lizzie.
Okay.
There's a request for there's a request for you there, Cliff.
I just wanted to. Oh, first Michael Wittenberg. Hello, beautiful people.
Hey,
Hello, Michael.
Michael.
Good to see you, man.
No,
Where's
Alicia
your
wants you to say yo yo.
yo? How's that? Was that okay?
That was perfect.
Was that perfect?
That was.
Like as I said, a very a very white, bony skeleton yo.
Yo yo.
Yo.
The pirate's life for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So we're talking authors, and Clive Barker is phenomenal. Now, I strongly recommend. If I've seen a lot of fantasy books on your channel, or darker stuff, but not always darker stuff. Some sort of standalone stuff. And I'm also looking to read a bit more dark fantasy, kind of grim dark and all that stuff. But I would start with Clive Barker. There's a lot of horror.
So all of his are standalone, right? So
yeah, all of them are. Well, except for The Great and Secret Show. It's the first part to Everville, but you can read them on your own, on like one shot. But really, it's a lot of horror in there as well. I think you'll love it. It
perfect.
brings in the horror. There's some very interesting kind of romance, kind of gay romance, LG thing.
Yep.
But he's a very, very, just a brilliant author. Yeah. And
Like I
I know
said, I feel like I could read. I know I've only read such a small amount, but the short stories that I've read, I'm like, I don't know that I'm into this plot, but I didn't care because his writing was just there. And then he got me interested in whatever it was. And yeah, it's just beautiful writing. And I don't think we see enough of it these days.
No, we don't. And I think you actually mentioned in one of your videos, the one short story is the best short story you ever read. Wasn't it one of your videos where you said, from the first Books of Blood? And you said, I think I read the best short story I've ever read. And
I don't think that was me. I don't think I've talked about it yet. I haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
But I did. There are some quotes in Midnight Meat Train, which I wouldn't say that the plot for me is like the best story I've ever read, but the gritty like description of New York, I loved it. It really, and I have seen that movie a long, long time ago, but they definitely nailed it in that movie, that just dark, gritty underside of New York.
He personifies New York as this like whore that in the morning when the sun comes up, the whore shows her colors and something like that. But the way he describes New York, it's very, very good.
Yeah, I had to go back and read it again.
yeah. I think it's the opening few lines. It's just
it's in the beginning.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to read more.
Yeah. And there was another book that I think I introduced you to, or maybe you had read it already, but I recommended it on my channel. See if you can guess which one that was.
Short Stay in Hell?
Well, we're going to get there.
A big book.
Big book. Robert McCammon.
Oh, Swan Song.
Yeah.
You know, I read that for Kelsey from Slime and Slashers. It was her book club pick.
Awesome
channel. A lot of times you and I end up reading the same books at the same time, which is kind of funny because we read our first, I don't know, was my first, I don't know if it was yours, first Richard Lehman.
Yeah.
And we ended up having the same book.
I haven't read many. Yeah, we read one up in the tunnel. No,
Midnight
underground.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, it was fun. But then you read one recently you couldn't stand.
It was the worst. I won't go into it. It was not good. But I think I think things are looking up because I'm reading a different layman every month.
Yeah,
So I'm
with
still
Slime and
in it for the ride.
with Kelsey. Yeah, I would have actually loved to take part in that thing, but I don't have enough of him, and I can't buy new books. So I can't read the. I think I've only got 3 or 4 on my shelf. So I'm trying to read a little bit every month, but I can't read the ones that are set. Because you guys have the set books each month. Eh?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you have a Kindle, but or I'm not sure
Yeah,
if that's a.
I'm not allowed to buy. I'm not allowed to buy. Remember?
Oh, I think it's because well, we have Kindle Unlimited where
Yeah.
you pay a fee every month, right? And so almost all of his books are on there. So I don't feel like I'm buying a book. I'm a little bit cheaty when it comes to
Yeah.
the challenge. But your
I
wife, didn't she buy you a bunch for Christmas? You're not touching those.
I'm not touching those now. I'm being very strict with myself, which is probably stupid, but
Yeah, you
um,
didn't buy those.
well, I didn't. Yeah, but they weren't on my shelf. For all you
I'm
know,
a
I
bad influence.
could be getting a list of what I want. So yeah. So look, I've got a Kindle. I don't have Kindle Unlimited. I don't use it for some reason, mainly because I read different stuff from our shelves and this, and when I buy books, and I don't want to. I think they give you what 10 per month for how much? $2, is it?
I don't know if it's 10 or 20. I feel like my
Yeah,
thing's always full and the stuff is just sitting there. But the layman's I have read that way. Sometimes the copy I have is really old and, kind of in bad shape. So it's just easier for me to read it on the Kindle. But
yeah.
yeah, I'll
No,
have to
I
see
just
which ones you have and we'll see if they fit any of the months.
yeah. No, I just find that buying or getting from Kindle Unlimited, I think I'd rather just buy the book if
Yeah.
it's $1 or $2. If I find some very cheap books or even some free stuff, and then read that. I
Layman's
like
are
the
pretty
idea.
easy to find for cheap.
Yeah, and I like the idea of owning stuff. I'm just that's the way I am. So I don't like the fact that with Kindle Unlimited you have to give the books back. Don't like that.
Like it's my book now. That's how I
Yeah,
read Swan Song, which honestly was easier for me because if I have a huge book, it can be intimidating. But when it's on the Kindle and I can't see how fat the book is, I could just read it, and I don't know, it's a mental thing. So um, that's how I read Swan Song too.
yeah. And it's kind of the book that you actually don't keep checking ahead to see how long you still have to go. I found that I sat and read that book, and I wanted to just keep going and going and going. It was that good.
I know you loved it. I have you read The Stand though?
Yeah, I like it more than The Stand. Sorry.
No, it's okay. To me, I think I like The Stand a little bit more, but I read that one first, and I'm not even a huge fan of The Stand. So to me, though both of those books were okay. There were parts I really loved, like I really loved that Kmart scene in Swan
Yeah,
Song. I did really love
that was insane. That was insane.
that. Yeah, I wanted more of that. And then I also really love just the idea of how the end of the world came in that book because it was different than anything I've ever read. And there were so many like little things within that I never thought of. Like, yeah, you think of the massive blast and everybody dying, but I didn't
Yeah,
think about like the air quality for years and years to come and the water quality and all of those things that I guess my brain never thought that far ahead because I just thought I would be
yeah.
dead if that ever happened. So all of those are pretty terrifying. Like
No,
little things.
you did a good job with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, before we look at the comments again, I actually want to go to that book you mentioned before that you actually told me you were reading.
Oh yeah.
A short stay in hell. I've been raving about that book on my channel. It's only about 100 pages, just over 100 pages. How did you feel about
So I read it because of you. As soon as you said that, I put it on hold on my library. It just took a while
it?
to get to me.
Yeah,
And it definitely makes you think a lot about time and infinity.
mortality and
It
mortality.
yeah, it's kind of crazy because so for those that don't know, this book is about this man who ends up in hell when he dies. And not that he was a horrible person or anything. He just didn't anyone that didn't believe in like this really obscure religion.
Zoroastrianism or something. Zoroastrianism, something. Yeah.
Never heard of it. But if you were not part of this very small religion, then you basically ended up in hell. So hell is very full, and uh, it's kind of tailored to the person. So this guy really liked to read. So they're like, okay, your version of hell is going to be that you are in this huge library, and you need, in order to, well, first of all, he's scared, right? Like, oh, I'm here forever. Like, that's horrible. And then he's like, oh no, the devil's like, or not the devil, but the demon, that the lesser demon that's taking care of it. He's just like, no, not forever. That is crazy. You can earn your way to heaven, but you need to find a book in this library that is your exact life story with no misspellings, with nothing missing, like the perfect iteration of your life. You find that book, we'll put you in heaven, no problem.
No problem. Should take a few years. Should take like a couple of months. Come on.
Well, I thought, yeah, that's annoying, but you get to read all these books as you are trying to find it, right? I thought, okay, that's not too bad. I mean, they give them food, whatever you want. Like
It's
the
like a
food is
vending
provided.
machine. It's a vending machine that you ask them for anything you want and you get it.
I want that vending machine.
Yeah, I want that. I want to be good.
You know what? I probably would still have the dilemma every night of what do I want for dinner? Even though it's like unlimited and made for me. Just
My
the
wife
idea.
would be very upset. My wife would be very upset because she loves cooking.
I
So
don't
she likes
mind cooking. I
to
hate
treat
thinking
me.
of what to make. So that's probably my version of hell, is thinking of what to make every night. But
Oh
anyway,
my.
he gets there at this library and the books are all gibberish, right? Because it's any combination of spacing and letters that they have to go through. And they never even find books that have like a complete sentence for hundreds of years. So it was quite literally hellish.
No, it was absolute hell. Um, and I don't know, you say it makes you think, but it blew my
Yes.
mind. It blew my mind because there you got a situation, right? This library. Yes, vast, a vast library, a sort of a never-ending, infinite library, right? And you have the food that you want. You stay young. That's another thing. When you die, you come back.
Oh yeah.
Age,
Or you
total
might
health.
go back in age. Like if you died old, you're like in your
Yeah.
prime.
Yeah. And then what could go wrong? You just throw in other people, right? You
Yeah,
just throw
I
in
found
other
that
people,
interesting because the
and
other people were all kind of the same, right? They were all the same race.
yeah, yeah, that was interesting. But the thing is, okay, besides that, but that was a very interesting thing. But they were all white or Caucasian or whatever. But the point is that you throw in people, and it's like people know how to just mess the world up. People know how to start wars. People know how to. You just leave people to their own devices for infinity,
Same with
and
Song
then
Song.
things are going to happen. And I just found it a very interesting book. And just the more I read in terms of this whole idea of infinity and this thing, it just blew my mind. Maybe it didn't do the
Humans will
same with you.
find ways to make hell worse.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. And in fact, humans made the hell that it was. That's sort of what I was thinking.
But they were
'Cause
bored. They were so bored.
exactly, exactly,
They
exactly.
had to create conflict. But I liked how they said there was a few years where they just acted like dogs or random animals, and they
Yeah,
played that out, or they did like big hide and seek games for years.
yeah. People are like that. I mean, think today, I mean, if people are bored, they come up with all sorts of strange stuff. If you're there for
Yeah.
all infinity, there's going to be some people that are, yeah, going to look for trouble. Um, let's just look at the comments again.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Sorry, I'm skipping a few. I need to read some Barker. Still haven't picked them up yet. Elizabeth, you definitely need to read Clive Barker. I know you love Gothic. I know you love Gothic, but you need to read some Clive Barker. Absolutely. Uh, Alicia, sorry. I'm skipping a whole lot of comments, people. I'm sorry, but we've got too many. Kelsey was the one that said it was the best short story collection. I think referring to Clive Barker, right? Books of Blood.
I would agree that I don't usually like short stories. So for me to even enjoy a short story collection is pretty unique.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, my sweet friend. And they're having their own conversation here. They're just having their own conversation, which is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so the True Love says, I'm going to read A Short Stay in Hell for the week of Weird.
That would
Yeah.
be a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also taking part in that. That's going to be a good week. But I think I'm going to go with some short story collections and short stories, mainly because I can't buy anything. So I'm going to have to find some weird stuff.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I did just read a book named Jawbone that would have definitely fit the week of weird.
Just
Hey,
saying hello,
Crystal.
Crystal. Hey, Crystal. Okay, then. What is the name of the book? Jagu.
Jawbone. It's a newer
Oh,
book.
Jawbone. Yes, I've heard of
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
like by
Yeah, yeah.
Monica Ojeda.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of that. I heard it's pretty good.
It's definitely weird.
Yeah. Christine, the influencer. Do it.
Yeah, telling you to buy books.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then Michael says, I thought Kindle Unlimited. Okay, we're going backwards now. It's just self-published titles. They have Kindles from
A
major
lot of
publishers.
them are, yeah. I don't know if it's every single book, but or older books that have been around for a long time. You can find them on there. But yeah, I think probably books that they're not making a whole ton of money off of selling singly.
Indie publishers, basically.
Yeah, but it's a great way to expose yourself to new horror writers, I think.
Oh, we got another one. Hello,
Hi,
Goddess of
Vic.
Gore. Hello, everyone. Oh, yeah. So we're making some friends here. Okay. And then got the last two comments quickly. Well, hell with the library. Doesn't sound too bad. No. It's pretty bad.
A library with unlimited food, anything you want. I was like, that sounds like heaven.
Yeah.
But you know what
But
my question is? If he made it to heaven, you still are living eternally, right? Like you kind of have the
mortality,
same problem. I mean,
mortality,
what's that?
mortality. For me, one of the biggest takeouts from this, you say you're living eternally. We have as people, we have mortality. We grow up, we get old, we die. There, you live forever until you can find that book.
But then you
So
just go to heaven and you live forever.
you don't?
Like if he found the book, he would go to heaven and he
Yeah.
would live out the same eternity in a different situation.
Yeah. Yeah. But the situation that they're in is that they're trying to find this book, and most of the books are gibberish, right?
Yeah.
Because it's modeled on this library where it's alphabetically, so it's almost absolutely infinitely impossible to find the book of your life. It's not an easy task, right?
Well, I
And it's going
probably just wouldn't. I probably would just live the rest of my days and then make the
to,
best of it. But I'm just saying, if you went to heaven, you would still be living eternally. To me, that
yeah.
was the hell part, was that you're just there forever.
Well, that is the hell part, because there's nothing really else to do there, except, well, eat, drink, and eat, drink, and basically look at books. 99% of which are gibberish. Um, and so you can even find a woman, find a man, right? But what happens also, the one thing, I'm giving away too many spoilers now, I'm going to stop now.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you could really spoil it just because in a way, like you still have to experience that book, I think.
Yeah, you have to experience it. And look, I was haunted. I was really haunted, because I really think it hit me in a way. Maybe it didn't do for you, but I don't know. I think it hit me in a way that, yeah, I'm not going to say anything more. I think we should move on because I think we're spoiling that book. Don't you think?
We're just getting people to read it.
You're getting people to read it. Yeah, yeah. And I suppose it's not for absolutely everyone. I mean, no book is for everyone, no matter how
It's
good
a
you
short
think it
one.
is. Sorry?
It's a short one.
Yeah, it's a very short one. That's why it's called A Short Stay in Hell. Okay, let's just see. Also want that vending machine. Yeah. Vending machine was very cool, right?
Yeah.
That was the best thing about that place. Um, I have a question for Kritz. Okay, here we go. We got some questions. But it's 9 o'clock this side, so you got your coffee. I don't know what I've got here.
I got water.
You got water. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, I have a question for Kritz. If you could make a horror book to a movie, which one will it be? And any actors in mind for the roles?
So I could only answer half of that, only because I am so bad at I don't watch a ton of movies and I don't know actors' names. I just don't care. I'm sorry. So I mean, there are some actors and actresses that I recognize, obviously, but I don't know. I don't get into the whole Hollywood stuff. So I thought about this, and I don't think this is going to come to a surprise to anyone if they watch my channel, only because I feel like I've talked about these books before because I really love them, but I do also think that they would make a great movie. And the first one, of course, is How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix. I like my horror kind of cheesy and funny. So like Army of Darkness type stuff. I like it
Ooh,
when it doesn't take itself too seriously, right? But it's
yeah,
still really graphic and just stupid. So I like things that don't take themselves too seriously. And I think How to Sell a Haunted House was a good depiction of that. And the idea of a creepy puppet terrorizing things, I think would be fun. And I just think it would be a fun book. And it wasn't just the puppet. Did you read this one, Cliff?
I haven't read that yet. No, actually, no, I haven't actually read Grady Hendrix yet. It's only because the titles of his books I just don't find appealing. How to Sell a
It's
Haunted
kind of
House.
funny that you don't find it appealing because I think that Grady Hendrix is so good at marketing himself and his books by having these really long, interesting titles and kind of packaging his books. Like this one doesn't really do that, but he has My Best Friend's Exorcism, where
Yeah,
it looks like an old VHS tape. So I feel like he's really good at marketing to people who are probably not into horror to pick up a book
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
So I will say that I'm not like a huge Grady Hendrix fan. Like I don't love all of his books. Like I think they're okay. He does write some very good horror scenes within them, but the books as a whole are not always my thing. And that's fine. Nothing against him. But this book just really resonated with me for some reason. And they're dealing with the death of their parents. I won't get into the whole story, but the death of their parents. So the siblings come home and they have to like go through all of their parents' belongings to try to sell this house, which to me is already kind of terrifying because my parents are at that age where I need to start thinking about that kind of stuff. And so I found that scary already. We were dealing with grief, but then the mom in this story, she like makes puppets and she has a lot of like weird knickknacks around her house that she's made. Like she has a nativity scene made out of squirrels. And these things start to come to life. And I just would really love to see that on the screen. I think it would be super cheesy and funny, but also scary. So that was one book that I would like to see as a movie if it's done well. I always like books better than the movies, I think. I
Yeah.
don't care who plays what, but
Yeah.
I like that. And my other one that I picked that was also a favorite book. I don't know if you know. My Heart is a Chainsaw
I
by
haven't read
Stephen
that
Greco.
either. I haven't read that either.
That's because I think you don't read a lot of newer stuff. You read a lot of
Yeah, I read a lot of vintage horror,
Yeah.
but I am changing. I am changing that. Now with the Kindle. Another problem is that I can't get hold of a lot of that stuff
Yeah.
physically in South Africa, unless I go to maybe some of the bigger bookshops and spend some money, which I don't want to do. So we've got a little secondhand bookshop. I get a lot of vintage stuff. I'm okay with that. But yeah, now that I've got a Kindle, I'm happy to explore more modern stuff as well. But yeah, that's one I'm actually more keen on reading.
I
My
think
heart
you
is
would be more into this one, honestly.
yeah,
It is in a way, it's a love letter to horror movies and slashers anyway. There's so many references in here to slasher movies throughout the 80s. And like the final third of the book is just, to me, in my mind, plays out like a movie. It's just a total bloodbath, and it's so much fun that I think it would be really fun to see on
that
screen.
sounds like
And
my kind of movie, yeah, my kind of book, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of slow to build up, so it definitely is a slower burn, and I think a lot of people don't like it
Yeah.
because of that. Because you're in the head of the main character for a long part of the book, but the last third, I couldn't put it down. I was just total bloodbath. I loved it.
Yeah. Can I just ask the audience here if you've read How to Sell a Haunted House and what is the second one?
My Heart is a
The
Chainsaw.
Heart is a Chainsaw. Which actors would you put in those movies? Actors and actresses you put in those movies. It'd be good to hear from you. See if any of you have actually read those. Because yeah, we want your participation here as well. And I'm going to go with the obvious one for myself. And I'm not going to show off the book because I don't have it here because it's dark. So, but I would love to see Swan Song. I know it's almost impossible because of the epic size of this. I'd love to see Swan Song made into a movie. And
A movie
I
or
just
maybe a series. I think it would make a good
miniseries. Yeah, okay,
yeah, because
yeah,
it is pretty long and there's a lot of different relationships going on.
agreed,
Yeah.
agreed. And I don't think they'd have that much problem with the CGI and all that stuff because, I mean, look where we are today with movie making. Yeah, it's a nuclear holocaust, but
I
I
pictured
would love.
the landscape is just like a wasteland most of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
time. And yeah, I think that they could do that.
I
I
think
think
they
that
could
would
do a
be
very good job.
yeah.
But it'd also be great to hear from you guys, like other books that you think could be made into a movie, and also actors and actresses that could appear in those movies or miniseries. I've
Would
got
you put
one for you.
do you have any
Yeah,
actors you would put in there? I'm asking you and then I
yeah,
probably won't know who they are.
yeah. No, no. I was thinking for Josh. I think sadly he's passed away, but Michael something Douglas. I don't know if you've seen the movie
Oh, yeah.
The Long Walk. No, not The Long Walk, man. My Layla's, my girl's making funny sounds. She's eating her groin. Sorry. If you can hear it, I'm sorry.
Okay. It's all right.
But that's Stephen King, The Green Mile. I think Michael Douglas Smith or something. Help me here, people. Um, and yeah, The Gentle Giant. Big black guy and a gentle giant. And he plays it. He has those secret powers. I don't know if you've read the book or seen the movie.
Which one?
Uh, The Green Mile.
Oh, The Green Mile. Yes,
Yeah,
I've done both. Yeah, I know who you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about. I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about.
yeah, yeah. It's Michael Douglas something, and I think he would make a very good Josh, a big gentle giant. I don't know
Yeah.
about Swan. I don't know about Swan, um, but I think that Roland, that evil bastard, I hate him. Absolutely hate him. Remember Roland? Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
remember Roland? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. There's a
I think
couple of nasty guys in that book.
if you've seen Game of Thrones, you've seen Game of Thrones, the
Yeah.
miniseries.
Yes.
Uh, that little shit, what's his name? That king, that blonde guy, the king, the young guy,
The the one that Joffrey?
Joffrey. Yes, I think he would. I don't think he'll change much. I think when he grows up, he's still a kid. Remember, Roland's still a kid in the book at the beginning, and then he
Yeah.
grows into himself. I think Joffrey would grow into someone like that.
That poor actor, man. I don't know. And he was so hated.
He's so hated.
He might
He
not
apparently,
take any more roles like that.
he was so hated that he quit the acting profession, which is kind of sad.
I did hear that
But
too.
sometimes the people that actually watch these movies and miniseries obsess over the actors, and if they're that evil, they treat them like in real life.
It's
It's
crazy.
ridiculous.
People
They
are,
can't separate the art. They cannot separate the art from the person, which is
yeah,
ridiculous. Yeah.
it is crazy.
Okay.
So I see Alicia saying she has my answer that when I thought of Jade, I did think Jenna Ortega, just because she has that very serious face, and I think she could pull it off. I know she's not Native American, but I do think that she could pull that off.
Yeah.
And Aubrey Plaza is my favorite. Probably, she's one of the few actresses that I actually know, and I love her because she is so deadpan, and yeah, she would be another good
Is
one.
this is this Michael Singer? I've
Yeah.
never heard of her. And who is this
Um,
for? Who is this
she's
for? Is this
probably
for?
she's probably most known for a show that was here called Parks and Rec. I don't know if you've ever
Okay,
seen it. It was like a comedy show.
never
And
seen
then
it.
she was on a very popular I'm not going to remember the name of it. Someone else will shout it out. It was an HBO show and she was on that one too.
Okay. Now she is. Are you talking about her Swan or for one of your books?
I think she would be a good Jade in My Heart is a Chainsaw. I don't know
Okay,
if
because
that's what Michael's
I
referring
haven't
to,
read
but
the book, so that's the thing. Yeah.
she's probably too old to do it at this point because Jade was a teenager, but yeah.
Okay. So it's Jade. Okay. Now is what's this? I know Jade is Native American, but my first thought was Jenna Ortega.
Have you ever
No,
seen Wednesday, like the Addams Family adaptation
love the
on?
Adams Family. Not. I haven't seen the movie, but I love the Adams Family. We actually don't watch much TV or movies or anything anymore here. You know, we got a kind of big library, and we have this ridiculous habit of going back to what we've seen before. So, yeah, we don't have Netflix anymore. We just don't worry
I've
about it.
canceled mine too. I don't watch a ton of shows, but I have seen that
Yeah,
one. And then
yeah.
Michael's saying she's also Aubrey Plaza. I don't know if you ever saw the Child's Play remake.
Hey,
Like
as you said that, Michael says
she's the
she's in this
mom.
novel.
She's the mom in that one.
Okay. Yeah, no, I don't watch like a lot of movies, a lot of TV. For me right now, it's all about BookTube. It's about doing videos. It's about reading.
I hear
But
you. I'm right there. The
every
few
now and
times I'm
then,
not doing that, I'm playing video games usually, so
yeah,
I don't see a
yeah,
lot of
me too.
shows.
Me too. Every now and then, I love my video games as well.
Yeah.
If my wife and I want to watch a movie or something together, we'll probably take out for the 10th time something like The Lord of the Rings uncut edition and watch that. Or
Not
Band
bad.
of Brothers. Or Band of Brothers. That's
I've
my
never
favorite
seen that one.
miniseries. That's a war one, but it's don't be fooled. It's powerful, powerful. That's probably my favorite miniseries of all time.
I
And it's
remember
war.
quite some time ago people were talking about that a
Oh,
lot,
it
but I've
is
never.
powerful. It's such a character study. I just absolutely love that series. It's so good. But yeah, I recommend it if you haven't seen it. And I know it's not horror, but it's like just something completely different. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking for more comments here, people. You need to ask us some more questions. Everyone has to run off.
Yeah, don't you want to know
We're
our
making it.
deepest,
Everyone's
darkest
running.
secret?
Say that again.
So they could be asking us our deepest, darkest secrets. Missed
Exactly.
opportunity.
E- Exactly. Okay. So someone agrees with me. Oh, hi, Jackie. Didn't see you there.
Hi.
Band of Brothers, amazing. I watch that often as well. Yeah. Good to hear someone. And my wife agrees. Band of Brothers is brilliant.
I think a lot of those shows are on like, or when they came out, were on like pay channels that I just never had.
Yeah.
So I know Game of Thrones was too, and then I like would subscribe for just to like binge watch all of them. And then
Yeah,
I would unsubscribe because there's so many different platforms. I can't subscribe to all of those.
yeah. No, exactly. No, we just don't have. I mean, I think my wife doesn't watch Netflix. She watches some local thing while I'm doing BookTube. That's kind of our.
It's hard to stay up on just BookTube alone. There's a lot. Uh-oh. Oh no, did we lose Cliff? Oh, there he is.
Yeah. There I am. There I am. Sorry, just for a moment. Just for a
I
moment.
thought maybe your storm came back.
Yeah, no, no. For everyone that's watching now, there was a huge storm, and there was hail, and it was crazy. And that's why Layla's lying next to me on the bed here. Kind of, we got a bed here in our little area here. She was terrified. Uh,
She's scared of the
the
storms.
lightning, the lightning here is loud and hectic. So, yeah, we had a big storm. I think it's moved on, which is great. One thing I asked you, and I'd love you to do for us, is show us some of your most beautiful books. Remember, I said to you, you
Yeah.
got. I said to you that one of the things about your channel, and one of the things I love about your channel, is that you have these unboxings, and you have these book hauls, and you have the most gorgeous books, with gorgeous spines, and just yeah. Could you show us some of your
Because I
books?
spend ridiculous amounts of money. So you could see some of them here where I have
Yeah.
like these are all like the edges. So a lot of the ones that I got, I did get from those book boxes, and most of them are fantasy. But I did pull a couple aside. Um, and you guys have probably seen these in the background. I do have.
Oh, oh, you're going to make me jealous now. You're going to make me so jealous. That's so
I
beautiful.
love the
That is
back.
so beautiful. Oh,
So for anyone that lives in the States anyway, this is not that hard to find because Barnes and Noble is, which is like a big bookstore here. I don't know if you guys have that there.
no.
They will do these special edition things that are pretty um, cool, and they're not super expensive compared to, they'll make there's lots of websites out there where you can get crazy things done to books, and then they'll be like $100. So, I mean, this is like the tag is literally still on here, was $25 book. So pretty cool. And the other one that I got from there that is my Stephen King that is usually in the background is a mashup of
Oh,
Carrie, The
oh,
Shining, and Salem's Lot.
this is my reaction every time I watch your videos.
Look at this.
Oh, it's so
Look at the
beautiful.
face and the blood.
Look at that. Wow.
And then the back just has the S.
Oh,
Have I ever read this particular edition? No, I probably wouldn't, because look how heavy it is. But it looks cool.
that looks very cool.
And then I did pull some aside so hopefully this isn't too many. I've shown this one too, but this is my Edgar Allan
That's
Poe.
beautiful.
And we've got a heart on the back. But what I really like about it is, because I'm still kind of a kid and I like when there's pictures in books. So this is like the brick wall. Oh, I guess mild spoiler if you've never read The Black Cat, but I mean, Poe's been around for a long time, so.
Oh, I love Black Cat. Yeah. The original cruelty to animals book, eh?
And cruelty to wives.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it has like pictures of these unspeakable horrors in this book, which I absolutely love. And that was fun to see. And then this one I solely bought. I had to seek this out on eBay because I saw that it was like a UK edition that only existed there. And it was short
Oh,
stories about witches.
oh, wow. That's so beautiful. That is beautiful.
It's got this orange foil. But then my favorite thing is when you take off the dust jackets and there's a naked hardcover.
Oh, no, that is gorgeous.
So I haven't
So
read this one yet. I want to read this one this Halloween.
before you do anything else, can we quickly look at some comments? But
Oh yeah,
those books, oh,
sure.
those books are so awesome. Okay, have you got one from Literary Love? What are your top? What horror books are in your top 5 of all time?
Oh God. Um, that's a good question. So there would definitely be some Stephen King up there.
What's your favorite Stephen King?
I have such a hard time picking favorites because it feels like such a final answer.
Yeah.
And I feel like things change from time to time. But I do love, like you, 11/22,
Oh,
63, which is not, I guess, technically a horror book. But
no, beautiful book.
I think that's an example of something that I have no. Well, first of all, 11/22 is my birthday. So I kept getting drawn to this book. And I have no like huge desire to know a lot about JFK, or I mean, not that that's a boring piece of history or anything, but I did not have a burning desire to read a whole book dedicated to him, which is what I thought it was. And I started reading it, and it just, the storytelling sucked me in. And even though it is about JFK, it's not really. It's about changing time and a love story within this
Yeah,
time jump. And I don't usually read stories where time jumps take place either. So he really got me interested in, and it's a huge book. He really got me interested in that. So I do love that book. Um, I also really love Misery, which maybe is not a very popular answer, but to me, human monsters are the scariest thing of all. And man, what a good villain Annie
yeah,
Wilkes is. And even though I had seen the movie several times and grew up watching that movie, the book is still scarier. Like
yeah,
it really got a grasp of addiction, which I like to see that side of it. So like his pill addiction, and then just the the gruesomeness of what humans will do to each other. Like
yeah.
I loved it.
Fully agree. And human monsters are the worst.
Yeah,
I
to
think
me, they're
that's
the
one reason.
scariest because they're the most real. Like that stuff
Yeah,
happens. Like it's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Trying to think. Top 5 is hard. I think My Heart is a Chainsaw has to be up there.
yeah.
Um, I absolutely
That,
love that
that,
book.
that good. That good. I need to
Yeah.
get that book. Okay, so then when I finish my challenge or when I've done 50 now, I'm going to buy that book because you've just said that. You've just said that to
I
me.
hope
I'm
you
going to buy
agree.
it. I
Stephen
trust
Graham
you.
Jones has a very distinct like writing style and voice, and I think it is a little bit hard to pick up on at first. But if you ever watch an interview or listen to an interview with him, he speaks the same way that he writes, and then it made it click in my head like, okay, now I understand where he's coming from because he does have, I don't even know how to describe it, just the most unique like inner voice, I think.
Mm,
So if you're having a hard time like connecting with him, listen to an interview or look one up on YouTube because yeah,
yeah, I'm
you'll
going to do that.
understand where he's coming from.
I am going to do that because he's actually high up on my priority list. I've heard so many good things. So I think I'm missing out. So I'm definitely going to check him out. And
Yeah.
I'm going to
I
check him
hope
out
you like
before.
it. I hope you
Yeah,
like it. Because the third book in that trilogy is coming out this year,
yeah,
very soon, in a few months, I think.
yeah.
So I want to reread the first two.
Okay. No, I'll
What is
definitely
your
do that.
favorite, your top favorite horror book other than Swan Song?
Weeworld, definitely Weeworld
Yeah.
from Clive Barker. I've actually given a review of that on my channel. It's just pure magic. It's not strictly horror, is it? It's dark fantasy. Um,
With
but I
horror
love.
elements to it though, or
Say that again.
are there horror elements to it, or is it just super dark fantasy?
Definitely horror elements. Yeah,
Okay.
it's a dark fantasy stroke horror, Clive Barker style. So if you enjoy Clive Barker's style and his way of writing, his imagination, you'll enjoy this. And I love The Stand. I mean, it's funny that my two favorite are Swan Song and The Stand, and people
It is
say that
kind of
they're the
funny because
same, but
they're very similar. They are very,
they're
very
not that. No, not that similar. They're not that similar. They're similar in the kind of if you take the framework right, and you
yeah.
take the yes, good versus evil. But if you actually go into the story, they're completely different beasts. You've got a different setting, different characters, different dynamic going on with Swan. So I think they're very different. And it's only because you take the big framework, good versus evil, and post-apocalyptic, and all the evil kind of go to one area. But it's different. They're totally different books, and I love them both. So those are my
The
two
Stand
favorites.
has a very good villain. Not the main villain, but I forget his name. The other guy that like was part of the group that kind of started.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been too long since I read it, but he was like part of the group and he was like friends with everyone, and then he kind of like turns evil at some point. And I thought he was very relatable. I thought he was a
Is
good villain. He was a human, not like
Yeah. I can't remember who that is. But going back to my top five,
okay.
there has to be a book in there that I actually, and you know what is interesting is that my most popular video on my channel is the third video that I ever made, and that's my top 10 horror of all time. And I cannot believe how popular it is, because at that stage I was still kind of awkward and I didn't really feel like I knew what I was doing. But anyway, number three for me is Something Wicked This Way Comes by
Oh,
Ray
I need to read
Bradbury.
that.
Ray Bradbury, Something Wicked This Way Comes. And it's YA, so but it appeals to readers of all ages, and it is not all out horror. It's creepy. It's beautifully written. I love his prose. I've read a lot more Ray Bradbury. He writes a lot of science fiction and fantasy and other things as well. But yeah, I just love the way the man writes. And it's just a
He does
gorgeous
have
book.
like a poetic quality
Very,
to his writing.
yeah, yeah. He's got a very kind of lyrical way of actually communicating, and it's not for everyone. There are a lot of people that can't stand the way he writes. I don't understand it myself. I think it's beautiful. But yeah, and he's written so many short stories that are fantastic and just gold. Um, Science fiction, horror, fantasy. So yeah, Ray Bradbury, Something Wicked This Way Comes.
I went to read that this fall or last fall, and I thought that I had the audio for it, but it turned out it was like a radio version of someone acting out the story, and it wasn't the whole story, so I didn't finish listening to it. But I want to read or listen to the actual whole thing.
And it's
So,
actually very short. It's very short.
mhm.
But for me, it's just so beautiful. So yeah, I recommend it. And someone here is asking, Alicia's asking, what is your spirit animal?
My spirit animal, I am a dog person, but I think that I am more like a cat because I just don't want anything to do with people unless it's on my terms.
I like that.
Like,
I like it.
whereas a dog is very loyal, and I'm not that I'm not loyal, but a dog, is just like, "Hi, how are you? I can't wait to see you again." And a cat's just like, you're here, okay." So I think if I actually was an animal, I'd probably be a cat. I'd be a snarky little cat.
Just don't ask me to answer that question because I'm not going to.
You're not going to? I'm also
I'm
part
also, I'm
sloth.
also I'm also a dog person, but I like the idea of flights. So I'd probably be an eagle or a hawk or something,
That
floating
would be
up there,
cool.
looking down at everyone, completely separate. That's probably me. Yeah. Okay. Rod's got a question here. Okay, we're going back in time again. I feel Ramsay Bolton was far more evil than King Joffrey. You're probably right. No, you're probably right. I just thought about Ramsay was an absolute bastard. And he was terrible. Remember the things he did in that
That
miniseries?
was pretty
He was
crazy,
awful.
yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty bad. But King Joffrey, I felt like slapping more than Ramsay. I just felt like slapping him.
Yeah, he definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see the next one. Do you have a comfort book that you've read multiple times? Hello, Jackie. Haven't seen you yet. How you doing? I don't know who is it, Jack or Jackie?
It's Jackie.
Jackie. There's new
Um,
faces on the channel tonight.
what's that?
There's new faces on the chat group that I don't recognize tonight, which is
Oh,
good. That is a
probably
very
because
good.
I was like, "Hey, come on over."
You did a good job with the marketing, eh?
I
You should
tried.
you should be my marketer. Yeah.
I do
No.
appreciate everyone that showed up in the chat. It does make me feel good because I was telling Cliff I get very nervous to go
I do
live. So
too. I do too. I get very nervous. It's not so easy, especially when because you can't edit anything. This is what you get. Here we are, right?
it's us, yeah. But it feels better when you've got friends in the chat and you feel a little bit of
Yeah.
love. So thank you guys.
Thank you,
Um,
guys.
yeah. As for comfort book, I did recently do a tag where this was a question, and I've thought about it, and I don't have, other than To Kill a Mockingbird, I have read many times. I don't usually reread, but there is a series of books that I have reread several times, so I would consider it my comfort series, and it is the series by Kim Harrison, and I forget what it is actually called, which I always call it the Rachel Morgan series because that's the name of the main character. But it is about a witch with red hair that's kind of badass. So, of course. And she lives in this magical world we live in this world where magic is known and vampires are known and witches are, everyone knows it's a thing, but they kind of live their separate lives. But she's basically a bounty hunter that has to collect these people who are doing bad magical things, or vampires that are, draining people without consent. And it's a silly little series, but I have read it several times throughout my life, and I probably will read it again. It's been about 10 years since I've read them, but yeah, out of all the things that I don't really usually reread, that's a thing that I've read a few times, that series. Oh, you got
Oh,
light
wow!
just in time.
Just in time. Yeah. Okay, now, baby, do you want to come turn this down? Now I really look white.
No, I think it's just your screen. You look fine.
I look okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I have to think of comfort reads, Weed World I've read 3 times.
Oh, nice.
But a lot of my comfort reads, and this is going back to when I was a child, are fantasy books, D&D, Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing. Books I'm going to be reading in future, rereading. And in particular, one book that I really love, and that's Magician by Raymond D. Feist. And I already read that 2 or 3 times, and it's more like kind of a high fantasy book with kind of, magic and sorcery and huge world building and stuff like that. But I always find that just very comforting. There's a lot of
You've got me hyped to read Weave World.
yeah. No, you'll love it. I'm sure you will love it. And then I also like in some books that I might read and put on my playlists. What do you call it my TBRs, my monthly TBRs. I might be doing Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman again, the Dragonlance series, but just like one book, so that as a palate cleanser between all the horror, so that I can
Yeah,
just
it's
read
good
some of
to
that
break it
stuff.
up.
Say that
It can
again?
get you in a funky mindset if you read too many.
Yeah. So I just read like 1 or 2 different genres just between all the horror, so that I can just like cleanse the palate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have no idea what I look like now with the light overhead on, but
Oh, Cliff, you look fine. The only thing is I can see your reflection in your glasses now of the light.
yeah, sorry, but that's
But other
okay.
than that, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see what we got here. That's a gorgeous edition. Okay, I'm not sure which one it's talking about.
All of them.
All of them.
Oh,
All of them. Yeah, they're all beautiful. What was it? Those are beautiful books. Odds and books. Hey, how you doing, man? Nicole's Bookish Nook. Nicole, made a copy. Okay. I just want to see if there's other new people here.
That Poe book, if anyone is interested, last I looked probably a few weeks ago, it was still available on Litjoy's website, so Litjoy, and they had a copy of Dracula and one other one, I forget what. So if you're looking for that Poe book, you could probably still grab it.
Okay, Runaway Train. How you doing, man? What happened to all the great atmospheric horror novels? There haven't no new good ones in years. Any recommendations? They all suck now. Off our time. So when you're saying atmospheric, are you talking about vintage horror novels? So something like a Ghost Story by Peter Straub? What in particular are you talking about here? Yeah, I think even a lot of the modern novels have good atmosphere. There's some of the novellas that I've read this year and last year that have got some great atmosphere. So specific
There
there.
are a lot of newer books, I think, that are marketed one way and then don't really end up being what that's about. So in that respect, I can kind of see being disappointed, but I guess if you read reviews first, you can kind of get an idea for some of that. But yeah, I guess I would have to know what this person's read and to give them some.
They have to be a little bit more precise with that.
Yeah, or maybe they just are into, maybe they're just into more vintage stuff. So in that respect, I would probably say reading Philip Fracassi, who writes newer stuff that I think has an older feel to it, particularly the book Gothic. I thought had an older feel to it. Boys in the Valley, a lot of people like. And my favorite is A Child Alone with Strangers. All of those read to me a little bit vintage horror, and he's a newer author, so I would say check his stuff out.
And I've heard a lot of good things about him. I've got my eyes set on him. In particular, Boys in the Valley. I've heard rave things about that book. So that's going to be one that I'm going to read soon and review soon. When my challenge is over.
You'll get there. You'll get there.
I'll get there. Yeah, I'll get there. It's hard to narrow it down. My favorite King books are It and Dolores Claiborne. Yeah,
I do love it. I do love it, with the exception that everyone has of the ending.
Yeah.
I have not read Dolores Claiborne yet. I need to read that. So, yeah.
You know what the interesting thing about that ending is? I read it when I was 15. I don't remember a damn thing. And I asked my wife, and she said she doesn't remember anything. Didn't make any impact on her at all.
Maybe you don't fully realize what's going on.
Yeah.
So I read that not knowing anything, right? Like I went into it completely blind, not knowing that was there. And I was just like, what? But to me, the actual ending, like not just that scene, but the stuff with like the turtle and space, I was just like,
That was
I
kind of
don't have
cosmic.
enough drugs to understand this. But
I enjoyed it.
Overall, the whole story is so solid that I don't really care about the ending. But yeah, I don't understand the space turtle.
Yeah. What I don't understand about people is that they will look at that 2-3 pages and then throw the book away and burn it and never talk.
The book's over 1,000 pages. Like, yeah. It is definitely questionable, and it didn't make sense. Of course, it's questionable. But the whole ending of the book, I think he was just on drugs. So, I mean,
yeah. No, he admitted afterwards. I think in an interview, he said, "Look, he hasn't been on drugs, and if he could, he would go back and change it, but he can't. So he can't." But there are people that overdo it, really, to be honest, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but that's why he's so good at writing the addiction parts of Dr. Sleep and like I said in Misery, like he understands the addiction and it really makes the reader feel that. So in a way, I guess it's great for art, even though it wasn't great for his personal life, but that could be said for a lot of things.
But he went through stages. I mean, he didn't, he was a kind of an alcoholic and drugs and alcohol in the 80s and the 70s. And then he had that accident He had an accident, I think in 1989, that changed him completely. But then beforehand, after the accident, he was still a druggie because then he was into pain pills and all that. But he's had there's been different stages of his life where, and he's still an excellent writer. That's all I can say. I mean, he's brilliant, and he's been through transitions in his writing. But he's like, look at 11/22/63. That is a magnificent novel.
He's a human being, and everyone goes through some shit. And yeah.
Okay, let's go to this. It's old. This short story, Color of Space. Yeah, Lovecraft is great, eh?
I've never read Lovecraft.
No, read a little bit of it. Just give him a go.
I should
Okay.
probably for Week of Weird.
Yeah, maybe just pick out one or two. And The Color Out of Space, like I said, is a good one to start. That kind of horror is dead now. Stuff I can do without the unnecessary work shit. They now shoehorn into too many stories. Yeah, I'm afraid. I don't know.
I would say yes. Sometimes you read a book and you're like, I could see where the author was like, I got to check this box, check this box, check this box. And it's because it's done inauthentically that I think it feels like this. But when it's done authentically, it's done very well.
Yeah. I wouldn't, like now, I'm very much into vintage horror, and I'm discovering new authors and new books that are actually wonderful. And it really do sort of yearn back to the vintage stuff that I read. So yeah, I wouldn't close myself off there.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, here we go.
Yes,
Harold
Lauder.
Lauder. Oh, that's who you were talking about earlier, right?
I knew someone would know. I have like the worst memory, I tell you. Like I'll remember how I felt about something, but the details gone.
Yeah. Oh man, I had that on the tip of my tongue as well. I was thinking about him.
I just was thinking about the guy with the candy.
Okay, got your Goddess of Gore, Ray Bradbury short
3
story, got
pages?
that. Like 2 pages and terrifying. I haven't read that. Can I get that
That's
online?
gonna be hard to be terrifying in 3 pages.
If something, I want to read that. Gotcha. Okay, need to tell us what Cliff's animal would be. No.
Yeah, Anita. Yes.
I was a field guide, so it could be any blooming animal. Runaway train. I thought early Dean Koontz wrote circles around Stephen King. Stephen King. No, Koontz is not a bad writer. I liked a lot of early Dean Koontz. So I definitely wasn't putting the guy down. I actually got a video with a collection of his work. And there's some, including Watches, which I absolutely love. And what was the other one, baby? Intensity. Okay, that's a more modern one. But there's some other one like Lightning and Whispers, and there's other books that he's read are brilliant. Bad Place. So yeah, he was never the media darling King is, even though King sold over. Yeah.
No one was the media darling like King was. So
yeah, exactly. Okay, Michael says, do you post a live chat on your channel for a rewatch, or for people who couldn't attend the live? Yeah, you can read it afterwards. As far as I know, you can watch it afterwards, and you can comment. From what I can see, I hope. But that's what's happening in the other one. So yeah,
I have to say, I think I found Michael through your channel, Cliff. And if you guys are not subscribed to his channel, he is very funny, and I'm really enjoying his channel.
And he's very honest.
Yeah, I'm a very blunt person, so I appreciate that. And the last video I watched for him, there's some stuff going on in the background that just was beautiful. You got to check it out. So if you guys are not subscribed to his channel, please check it out.
And you must check out all these channels, like Goddess of Gore.
Oh yeah, everybody. But he was new to me. Like I had not known about his channel.
Yeah. Okay, now let's see what else we got here. You post a lot. Oh, sorry, we're there already. I'm currently reading Boys in the Valley right now. Ooh, I want to know what you think about that.
That one wasn't my favorite, but it's still very good and very atmospheric. I think that one is.
What did he say? Yes, sorry, Morgan. More vintage stuff. I don't
It's
need to
hard to
apologize.
remember what we were talking about, when they.
Yeah. Agreed about Fracassi. Okay, I'm just going to go through these here. That's agreed. Started reading The Boys and I'm hooked. That's the one that I got my eyes on. You say it's not your favorite. I have got a Fracassi though. It's something about these guys going into the ocean. Fracassi Sea is something sea. They go into the ocean. As far as I remember, when I looked at the thing, it's about these boys, his brothers, and his father, so his family. The one boy is being released from prison, and they go on a fishing trip. They charter a fishing boat, and they go into the ocean, and then it's like an ocean horror. There's creatures. Have you not
I
read
haven't
that?
read that one. I'm starting to go back and find more of
Yeah,
his stuff because he's becoming a favorite of mine for sure.
yeah. I think he's going to be a favorite of
Oh,
mine as well.
Sakulina, she's saying.
Say
I
that
don't know if
again.
I'm saying that right.
Say that again.
In the comments, they're saying that book is called Sakulina. I might be saying it wrong.
Oh, Sakulina. Yeah. I'm just working my way through the comments here. Sorry if I spelled that wrong. Actually, approach that scene from the feminist standpoint in terms of it being empowering for Beverly in my MA thesis. Interesting.
Jen's
And
a
you know, a lot
smart
of
one.
people, a lot of, sorry, go for it.
Oh, I was just gonna say she's a smart one. She's done a lot of literature feminist type classes, I think. I don't know if she's a
Yeah,
teacher, but
yeah,
yeah, she's got a lot of great views on things that I appreciate.
yeah. Okay, look, it might be empowering for Beverly, but it's pretty messed up in that way. But still, I think Beverly is often underestimated as a character. I've seen a lot of
I
people
love
talk about her.
Beverly.
I love Beverly, but I'm talking about her in terms of what I've seen on Goodreads. Some of the people that say this book stinks because Beverly is this one female amongst these males, and she's no good for anything, but it's just a love interest for. I think that's
No,
rubbish.
she's
She's a
not.
strong character. She's a strong.
As a female that gets
Yeah,
along with guys a lot better and being like the
yeah,
tomboy
getting
of
it.
the group, I fully identified with her. And her situation was one of the scariest. Like
Yeah,
her fear was, yeah, I don't know.
yeah. I've got a note from my wife here. She's sending me notes because we're missing comments. Said Runaway Train was talking about atmosphere horror, vintage horror, which they don't do well anymore. Yeah, okay.
We caught up.
We caught up with that. Yeah, I think she's behind a little bit. Okay.
Oh, don't question the boss. She's the one making food
Oh,
over
I'll
there.
get in trouble. Yeah. Stephen King said he hardly ever remembered writing Future. Yeah. He can't remember writing Future. He was drugged
That's
out.
crazy. That's crazy to.
It's crazy. Yeah. I'd love to read your thesis library.
Yeah.
It sounds so interesting. Because my wife agrees with us. I mean, Beverly's a strong character. I don't know how people can see her as a weak character. She's the one that actually has to, she's the one that's the best shot. Remember? Out of all the
She,
boys, she's the one that's chosen to actually take the shot.
yeah.
Yeah,
She's a
she's a
strong
strong.
character. Whatever. People can have opinions.
Yeah, and she has to put up with that bloody father of hers as well.
She would have to be a very strong person to live in that situation. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Must be nice so much time writing everything. What is work shit? You can explain this, please. I don't know what to say.
I tried to have this conversation with my dad. um, don't worry about it, Rod. It's just about being politically correct, and yeah,
Yeah.
I'll.
It's like being, as you say, politically correct and always doing the right thing and not upsetting anyone, not
Accepting
hurting
everybody.
anyone's feelings, not hurting anyone's feelings ever. So it's just that.
Well, that's a little difficult, but yeah.
Yeah. That's just being politically
Just
correct.
it's not being an asshole. Just don't be an asshole.
Okay. Okay, Wittenberg, thank you. That's thank you for shouting his channel. My channel got off the ground thanks to Cliff. Thanks, man. Okay. But that's why we're all in it together, aren't we?
It's funny how it just takes a little push sometimes to.
Yeah. But that's why I give shout outs, because people need a little push. Boys in the Valley is so good. Okay. Sakilina. Okay, we got more Sakilina. Oh, we got a new person yet? Queef Sweat. I said that with a straight face.
That's their given name? Did your parents?
I said that with a straight face. Do you get that? Queef Sweat?
Smashing that like button like I'm getting you pregnant. All right.
Good. Okay. Oh no, this is PC. Okay, moving on.
They're just trying to get us to say things.
Likely the age of her dad. What's that?
He'll text me often and be like, what is, this short, like LOL stand for, or not that, but I get those texts.
Don't worry about it, Rod. That's my mom's name.
I know.
Okay, Lady Jane Books. I have no idea. Is that a clapping hand? Not to offend anyone. Impossible. Our society has become so fragile. Okay, now you're getting it. Yeah. Can't even write fiction. That would be work. Now you're getting what work fiction is, what work is. You can't offend anyone. Look at Facebook. Okay. Oh, wait, we got another one that's very funny here. Queefer Sutherland just sounds silly.
I'm starting to wonder if this is my husband at this point.
Has he got the same sense of humor as you?
I've heard the term Queefer Sutherland around the house, but I don't think he would.
That might be him. Yeah. No, you're killing it. Oh, you're killing me. Yeah. Oh, man. This was freaking awesome. This is fun. Have you got any other questions?
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, it's a pleasure. Want to say hello? We'll have to check. Watch back for the full discussion. Who's that Lady Jane Books? Do you know her?
I don't.
Okay. Well, we got a new person. Yes. But I have to say thank you to everyone out there that's watched and is still there and is live with us. That is freaking awesome. And I'm very, very happy to say this is by far the longest show that we've had. It's just an awesome guest. So much fun.
And I was nervous, so hey.
Hey,
I didn't need to be.
I think you're just a natural. I think you should do this. I think you should start your own live thing. No,
I do need to go live at some point.
Sorry, you?
I do need to go live at some point. I gotta just get over it.
You got a lot to say, and you're not that nervous, believe me. This was very, very, very awesome. And I just have to say to everyone once again, thank you. And to Christina, thank you so much. I had an absolute blast. It was so much fun talking horror with you. And to you?
Anita, your clever wife.
Yeah, my clever wife, yeah. Well, you got a clever husband as well, who apparently likes to say Queef Sweat, stuff like that.
Yep, this one goes out to Queef Sweat's mom.
Yeah, exactly. But thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on my show. I love your channel, and all of you that have been watching, check her channel, subscribe to her, like her. And that's what we do. And so thank you so much for everyone. Oh, Bookie Bus still there. This has been fun. Great to see you guys. Thanks, Rod. Let's do the last thing quickly. Anita and I have the queefs. Okay, I'm not sure what that means, but
don't Google it.
I won't Google it now. Anita is a real MVP.
Yeah, she
I have to
is.
agree, I have to agree with you though. She is, yeah.
I
My
love when
show.
you guys do when you have her on your channel.
I
It's
love having her on my channel.
very
We have
wholesome.
we're very, very, very comfortable together, so it's fun. Yeah. You should do that with your husband.
Your wife is very supportive. My husband will never.
No. But once again, it was absolutely wonderful having you on my show. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And
thank you very much.
just hang around for 2 minutes when we go at the end.
You got it.
And thank you to everyone once again. And we're going to go bye-bye.
Bye.
In 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait, sorry. You have to press it twice.